I don't know, man. It just they still on this shit. Like I don't know what to say anymore.
Yeah, Hunter Biden, a man that Joe Biden once called the smartest man he knew.
Yeah, just say it. Go ahead, just say it. That's the one with Samuel L. Jackson. Just say it.
Considering Hunter Biden's history
of
basically just running around the globe picking up bags of cash by saying his last name over and over, and his history of smoking Parmesan cheese off of carpets. He thought it was crack, to be fair to him. And his history of apparently stooping his brother's widow while also trying to seduce his brother's widow's married sister. Yes, that's a thing that happened. But now we have the most explosive allegation of all, because we live in the craziest world of all, and that is that Hunter Biden addressed his white lawyer as N-word multiple times, used phrases like true dat N-word, and bantered I only love you because you're black in shocking texts unearthed days after Joe's emotional Tulsa speech decrying racism. This is according to Daily Mail in the UK. Now, again, I will say that our general moral standards in the United States are somewhat weird. And they're somewhat weird that if you in jest, use the N-word that ends with an A to describe your white lawyer, that this is, in the world of politics, a much, much greater sin than being a crack addict who is irresponsible with his own children and also knocks up a stripper and also is stooping his brother's widow and also her married sister. Like,
I'm speechless. I don't know what his point is. I don't know what you're trying to like. Like I don't know.
In the pantheon of sins, I feel like we're sort of getting these out of order. But suffice it to say, Hunter Biden is a garbage person, has been a garbage person, not as like he actually picks up garbage, like he's an actual person made of garbage. He's a terrible, terrible person. He's been a terrible person for a very long time.
Did he just explain that euphemism? Oh my God. Yeah, he low-key jealous.
It is constantly a source of amusement to me.
He wishes his life was as cool. Like, I'm sorry, like, when it comes to the Hunter Biden thing, I'm just going to take it as that motherfucker not running for nothing. As a matter of fact, he's more living proof of why, like, your family members shouldn't be directly involved in fucking politics, to which he's not. Like, what is your go home
to
here?
Treat Hunter Biden as though he is, again, a small child, even though Hunter Biden is, I believe, 52 years old. If at 52 years old you are still participating in these sorts of hijinks, at this point I think we can safely declare that you're not a very good person. But it does expose to the...
Do you know how many white people, you know how many bars, parties, shits I've been to? Do you know anything about, like, anything of white culture, Ben? The shit that you assimilate, you want to be so bad? Like
the fact that there is this wild double standard with regard to the sort of language that you're allowed to use so long as you are apparently related to a prominent Democrat. Now, we've known...
If I cancel Hunter Biden today, if I make a whole segment on how shitty Hunter Biden is, how his behavior sucks, all of that, what does that do for Joe Biden? Like, what does that prove? That they're do you think he's... You call him Sleepy Joe, and then you make all these allegations like the entire family is a crime syndicate. Pick a side. I'm begging you to pick a fucking side here.
I've done this for a long time, right? Your behavior, if you're a prominent Democrat, there are very few boundaries on what you can do unless you happen to become useless to the Democratic Party. Right? Hunter Biden is still useful because his dad is useful. The minute that Joe Biden becomes not useful, Hunter Biden will be not useful anymore, and he will go the way of the dodo bird. You saw this with Bill Clinton, right? Bill Clinton went from being so useful that people were making excuses for rape allegations against him. Then he became not super useful, and everybody's like, that Bill Clinton, he's just terrible. And then he... He became useful
Okay,
again
it's not loading
around the
for me.
time
I
that
don't know
Hillary was
why.
running. And then we had to downplay everything that was bad about Bill Clinton. And then he became useless again, and now he's kind of useful again. So anytime somebody is useful to the Democratic Party, they become useful to the media, and then
No. Monica Lewinsky is just recovering from it. You can watch the John Oliver segment where he interviewed her. We literally impeached that motherfucker within. We crucified him in the media. Once he becomes useless to the Democratic Party, that's your.
all this stuff gets downplayed. Anytime they are useless to the Democratic Party, then it's totally safe to throw them out the window. Okay, so
That's literally not true. That's literally not true. That's literally not true. What you're not understanding is that prominent Democrats use the progressive wing to say, oh, look, I did this bad thing, but I'm going to do a bunch of progressive shit to get rid of it. And they continue on that trend. It's a problem in the Democratic Party, which is why most of them are corrupt, which is why we have people like Senator Joe Manchin. And look at that. Like, he's a Democrat. He gives us the majority, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. And he's still, like, on the side of the Republic. No, that's a shitty. When did you upload this video? Today.
Here is the full story about Hunter Biden. Now, again, I will say that when it comes to the use of the N-word, there is a difference between calling a black person an N-word with an ER at the end and in jest using the N-word that ends with an A to describe a white person. Now, the latter...
Okay, so put me in this point. What about a black person? No, see, I tried to rationalize that because y'all hate when I just dunk on shit, right? I can't even figure. He's skipping the one that I wanted to say, which was like, okay, so if there's a difference between a white person using the hard ER and like somebody using the A word to describe a white person, then what about white people who use the A word to describe black people to escape them not saying, well, I didn't say it with the hard ER at the end. Like, you might as well have. Blacks, like, you see what I'm talking about? You're skipping. He does that shit. He skips.
Is also really crude and gross and stupid. It's not racist in the same way that it would be if you were just shouting the N-word at a black person, which is the height of racism, obviously, in American society. But here,
that's the height of racism in American society. Shouting the N-word at somebody, that means that racism in America still lives. Still is processed. So if that's okay and that can get passed by, then Ben Shapiro, are you admitting right now that systemic racism exists in America? Because that's still a thing that people still cling to when it comes to describing black people.
Here's the story from the UK Daily Mail. Hunter Biden used the N-word multiple times in conversation with his white $845 per hour lawyer. His text messages reveal
his white you see what I mean?
The shocking text may prove embarrassing for his father, Joe Biden, who just last week gave a speech decrying racism on the 100th anniversary of the Tulsa Massacre and has sought to portray racial justice as the top priority for his administration.
Why?
The president's son joked in a January 2019 text to corporate attorney George Maziris about a big penis and said to the lawyer, I only love you because you're black and true dat, N-word. In another text a month earlier, he wrote to the Chicago lawyer saying, how much money do I owe you? Because, with two A's, because, N-word, you better not be charging me Hennessy rates. Maziris wrote back, that made me snarf my coffee because he's a lawyer and lawyers know that you're supposed to actually just like pretend that your clients are amusing. Hunter added, that's what I'm saying, N-word, cutting off the racial slur mid-word, then texted a picture to Maziris. The picture was not downloaded on Hunter's laptop, from which the text exchange was recovered by Daily Mail. But Maziris replied, why are you so tan? Hunter replied, I'm sorry for sexting you accidentally. That was meant for another friend named Georgia. In the January text exchange, the two men were talking about philosophy and bantering with each other. Maziris wrote, there are ideals of unconditional love that serve as proxies. I don't have many. You, God. Hunter wrote, OMG, N-word, did you just, a fictional character from the imagination of the collective, frightened, and my dead brother's unconditional love is what I should rely on, and my kids aren't children, George? I don't even know what they're talking about.
Right, so why are you talking about it? Why did
he's the great sage white man who is going to bring justice racially to black people across America. Hunter's just a wayward child. He's an innocent, wayward child who's experienced so much tragedy in his life.
You literally okay, I'm done with this segment. You literally are okay, hold on. If the antithesis of this video after 5 minutes is what I'm assuming that it is, because I'm going to have to make an assumption here, because I don't want to put up my time and effort into really digging into this at 1 o'clock in the fucking morning. Like, are you insinuating in any way, shape, or form that, like, we're excusing that behavior? Are you mad that they're not? See, this is what makes me think you're mad because it's not trending on Twitter. Like, we separate Hunter Biden from Joe Biden because they're separate. They, like, it's someone's son. What are you talking about? Like, he's making decisions on the, or are you afraid that the input is going to be the same from the Democratic side as it was with Donald Trump's kids? Oh, so you do admit that that's bad. So I hate to do the whataboutism, but like, you didn't cover any of this and you spun all of those stories to be good things. You spun all the sexual assault allegations, you spun all the inbreeding, the dumb shit that they said out of their mouths, the fueling of the January 6th insurrection. All of that was fine. All of that was media hype, and all of that was Donald Trump didn't do it. But now Hunter Biden was getting caught probably high on crack just saying shit, and that's a problem that we should address. You're right, it is a problem we should address. But wouldn't that mean that we have more problems to address? Do you want us to just attack people because we want to show we want to show that we're consistent across the board? Because the people that we attacked when we started this still haven't gotten any like repercussions for any of their actions. So I guess we could say, why should this person? See, when I play your game, it doesn't amount to what you are saying. But when I try to show you the differences, you say I'm being a hypocrite. So I can't, my hands are literally tied on all the discussions and all the decisions that you made. Great, thanks. I appreciate that. Thanks for wasting my time. That's what you're saying, a whole bunch of nothing, a bunch of contradictory statements that don't actually apply to anything other than like, black people should hold Hunter Biden as accountable as they did for Donald Trump. You said Joe Biden was going to save black people. We literally never said that, yo. We literally never, that wasn't even a discussional point. We were hoping that like we would sweep the Senate, sweep the presidency, maybe even the House, and like get some shit passed. Like get some shit passed. We gave that task to the guy who we gave the task of dethroning the authoritarian leader in our country. We didn't say that was going to happen. Matter of fact, we were all saying, watch the same thing go on. And the same thing is going on. We got the same guy. We just know how to hold him accountable for each of his actions. We're not going to let you slip up this time because we literally gave you the presidency to stop democracy from slipping out of our hands. You're trying it. You're trying it, Ben. I don't like that. You're being bad faith, brother.